And we are live. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever ye all shall be. Lovely to see you all joining today. I'm Barbara Etienne with Projectkin, and joining me today on this lovely in California, Northern
And
California
Kyla, Mercy.
morning. It is our very own Kathy, the cornerstone of Projectkin, Kathy Stone, joining me today. And once again, we have these Sunday previews where we give you a little preview of what's ahead on this very busy week. Because you know what? This is the roundup, roll up on our way, posse assembled on our way to Roots Tech Week. So it's great to see you all. Hello, Kyla, or Yippee Kyla, as we say. Linda Tether, also coming in from Calgary. Jim, nice to meet you. Welcome. And of course, Marion bringing up the warm weather from Florida. Marcy from way out on the cold coasts. I'm sorry, Marcy. I just assume it's always cold in Nova Scotia. And congratulations on Olympic gold. Was that the hockey? Oh,
That was the hockey, Barbara, yes.
well, respect for the
That
elbows,
some
my
of
friends.
us have been up since in my time zone 6 a.m. to watch the game.
Well, I'm sorry. We will. Yes. we draw our lines. Okay, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, we'll move along, but nice sentiment, Marcy.
We'll move along. So let me give you a quick snapshot of what's ahead for the week. I might mention it again. It just might happen. Welcome, Anne. It's lovely to see you coming all the way in from Aberdeen in the Scottish Highlands. It's great to see you. We do love a good game, Marcy. That's right. This is, of course, a reference to the hockey game that just occurred between our borders, shall we say. So let's move on to what's ahead with Roots Tech. Starting this week, my own programs begin starting on Thursday, but first we have Roots Tech Family Fun, a live stream program with Jennifer Jones hosting Aaron Hoover and Crystal Lorimore tomorrow as the first of our series for the Roots Tech Ride Along. So this is a crazy idea that started a year ago and a little bit nascent a year before that in 2024. When out here in the remote on Roots Tech Online world, there she goes, I decided to host speakers and pretend that we were coming along for Roots Tech. And then last year, it just got a little bit more serious, as we called it, the Roots Tech Ride Along with folks on site and out here. And this year, we're just doubling down. We're going all in. So my dear friend, dear Mert, has come along with her crew at the Genea bloggers and their blogger beads. And I don't quite go back far enough to earn my real blogger beads, but I think there's something special about DIY. So this is my DIY blogger beads with that's actually, what do you call that? Found items, and a tag that we are sharing in the DIY swag department over at at the Ride Along Partners page. So come on down and you can see all of the activity. And seriously, this is an offer for every single one of you. As you find yourself writing a post on any kind of public social media that is not paywalled, not login constrained like Facebook or Instagram, but open like Threads or X or Blue Sky or Substack, send it my way. I would be delighted to share the enthusiasm that you are sharing. Substack doesn't support hashtags, and frankly, these days, 30 years after, 20 years after hashtags first rolled out, come on, man, we're past all that because they've basically been gamed. So let's just talk to each other, and that's what it's all about. So drop me what you're doing. I'll pop it into that page, and let's just have a good time. That's what it's all about. But today, we're gathered for a very special talk with Kathy Stone, telling us what's coming on Thursday here in California, the West Coast, the Americas, and Europe. If you're up so late, and Larkham, and you probably should not be because it's midnight your time, all the way out to the Pacific where it's early and late morning across New Zealand and Australia.
Mhm.
That's Kathy's Corner. To the day after, that would be Friday across the international date line. So, Kathy, what's coming?
Well, I'm just going to say hello to Linda Stufflebeam and say she wanted us to remind everyone that Relatives at Root Tex is live now.
Yes.
So something
So,
to do for the rest of the day. So
drop your names in there if they are not what we might have expected. I've not looked for you, Linda. I have a feeling we're cousins. I just have that feeling. I'm Barbara at Projectkin, just to make it easy on relatives at Roots Tech, and just come on in, drop it in, share the names, and let's find out how we're related, because that's usually the question. So go on. Oh, wonderful.
so Thursday. So back in December, for many of you who joined us, we had a session on postcards where we had a lovely group of individuals who brought postcards and told the stories behind the postcards. We had collections of postcards, and it gave us a good wide view of another form of history, I guess we could say, with postcards. And also another element of source of information for us as genealogists can sometimes be as simple as a postcard too. And so we decided to do with we talked about goals and quests and things in January, but I thought, well, let's go into February and talk about postcards part 2. And how do you organize and manage them? Because that came up a lot we had some individuals, Paula Collins comes to mind, with really, and my cousin Jamie Blencarn, with really large collections of postcards. This isn't just like a little shoebox full. They have massive amounts of postcards. Barbara has a box of postcards. Probably everyone has postcards. So the question came up, so how do I manage them? How do I manage a whole collection of postcards? Yeah. And that big stack, like what do I do with them? And thinking more in terms of the preservation of them, and then necessarily obviously as anything else, like a photo, a letter, whatever, digitizing them. But I want to talk about on Thursday about preserving them if that's your decision, and we'll talk a bit about making that decision too. And it goes back to my favorite 3 questions of as part of my legacy, what do I want people to see? What do I want them to have? And what do I want them to know? And answering those questions sometimes can be a big help in deciding what we need to keep and what we can maybe just digitize and get rid of. Postcards are quite, I think, very easy to get, not to get rid of, I don't like that word, but to send off to a new home, because
Share.
surprisingly, we found out there are so many people who collect postcards, and they don't actually care if they're from, so if they have no idea what they're about. But so that's what I want to talk about, and it applies also to any other paper products, letters. We taught the question of, I have old business cards, not necessarily my stack. I have a big box full of business cards, but not mine. But I have my mom's business card who's long gone, and any kind of paper ephemera. How do we keep that? How do we preserve it? And what's the best thing to do with it? So that's what we'll talk about. We'll get a little bit into the nitty gritty of the fact we're dealing with paper products that have nasty things in them that can hurt our photos, and how do we keep things separate and isolated and still enjoy them too? Because that's
You know,
another thing. We want to be able to enjoy them.
Yeah, as you're speaking, I suddenly dawned on me the idea of primary and second. We talk about primary and secondary sources, and how when I send you a postcard that is meaningful to me for something I collected, a postcard of a beef eater at Buckingham Palace, for example. I send it to you because it was a meaningful moment for me, and it shares a connection that you and I have. You then receive it. It's got the stamp, it's got the words, there's a
Mhm.
primary meaning to it. You receive it, you take that meaning, it's nasty paper. It's a bad neighbor to other papers. So you take
Yes.
that, scan it because you have absorbed the primary meaning, and you let it go to a secondary meaning. And now it might end up in a thrift store somewhere in Calgary, where somebody else is going to come along and associate their own meaning with it. Um,
And so I love if people who collect images of the Tower Guards in London. There you go. And I don't know if Paula Collins is here because she knows. I've forgotten the name of it. I'll look it up by Thursday of what collectors of postcards are called. There's a
right,
term, actual word for it, which
right,
escapes me at the moment because,
right.
6 o'clock in the morning. But
And to the point about primary meanings to postcards, what she's doing right now is creating posts, a single post that is about that one postcard. That's it. So each post is an archive essentially of that card and its moment. I love that. The purity and simplicity of it. And Marion drops here that her family's postcards have been digitized and have become the topics of posts in her blog. They're arranged by theme and or season. I love that. I love that. So I'm
well,
sorry.
and
Go on.
that's a great point too, Marion, is arranging them. How do we arrange them
Yeah.
because there's different, and I talked about before, different types of postcards, and we saw them in there in the session in December. I have postcards, and I think what prompted initially got us talking about postcards was in another group I'm in that was a group of scrapbookers. Someone said, "I have all these postcards with old photos on them. Should I just throw them away?" I said that before. That's still a traumatic experience apparently for me. And I said, no, no, no. Those are actually what we call a real photo postcard. And I have a couple. I've got one of my grandfather when he joined the British Navy prior to World War I, and it is the original of it. We've got multiple copies of that picture, but the actual original is a photo postcard. And so there's historic value and a whole history that we'll talk about on Thursday behind the real photo postcards. And then there's then and an era, and I think 50s, 60s postcard or around there, postcards became a good thing to send because it was cheaper. Postage was always cheaper. So you could send a postcard cheaper than a letter. We talked a bit about postcards of birth announcements, or conversely, pictures of, which was a little shocking when you first see one, a picture of somebody in their coffin, because that was a
Def-
way to make a death announcement as well for people that were far away. So there's the real photo ones, and then we get into the tourist category, category of tourism, and all the postcards everywhere I've
Souvenirs.
been. The
Yeah.
wish you were here postcards,
Yeah.
I will call
Yeah.
them.
Right.
But then also, there's a lot of art cards, and it was my cousin brought some of hers that are beautiful artwork on these postcards. And I think that's a trend coming back again because you could get cards in museums. I think you mentioned that, Barbara. The last time you could get postcards of pieces of art in museums. So there's
Yeah.
such a wide range of it. It's a massive topic to talk about. But also, again, it's more of those things we have that we want to handle in some way. I just finished digitizing sorry for everyone who's been on lately, me talking constantly about my trip to England in 1969. I've just got back all the stuff digitized, and I digitized all the postcards because the majority of them were pictures of places we were at. And
Mhm.
so, not sure what everybody had for cameras. I know we were probably using 69, maybe the Instamatic, maybe still the Brownie, but just to be realistic, the photos aren't great. Even with editing and AI, I'm going to fix up the photos that have people in them, but the scenery ones, it's like I have no idea what that is. Like it looks like
Taken from a
a
car.
castle. It's way far away. It's a castle. Yeah, we took it out of the car. So I thought, you know what? I'm digitizing all these nice postcards. A lot of them have written on the front what they even are, so I only need one side, and that'll become part of the album I eventually will make of that trip with my mom and stepfather and aunt and uncle and my grandmother. We took my grandmother back to England in 1969 after she had left in 1929, she immigrated to Canada and hadn't been back for 40 years. So it was kind of a significant trip. So I think that's what I want to talk about, and maybe a precursor for Roots Tech, for something to think about as you're attending sessions, talking about all sorts of things. And AI it gives you something still that's not AI. It gives you real
Yeah.
photos. I could look up pictures. I could get pictures off the internet, but these are ones that we actually bought. We touched my mom touched these. My grandmother touched these. This was something that was collected by people who are important to me. And so I think that's fits into one of my three categories of things that whether I keep them all or let them go or start mailing them to people. I love that idea. I might just start doing that is another question, but now they are preserved. And I've got, just mentioning the other day, I'll take a picture of it at some point. I have now 4 boxes of that went to be digitized and came back. And I have now sitting in my other office, 11 boxes of things that have been digitized that I still have to unpack and put the stuff away now or keep or decide I'll make all those decisions by way. You know what? It's now preserved. I
Yeah.
don't have to worry about all those things being
Yeah.
lost. So
Yeah. I still, now that I can see it in the background here, these boxes of my mom's stuff. And she, in her later life, after my stepdad died, she did a lot of travel on cruises
yeah,
and met her third husband that way. And kept a lot of the postcards along with
yep,
those albums and postcards and pictures of people I have no idea who they are. I had, from a boat
yeah,
who no telling where it is, and yet as you see them tied in the album with the postcards, like, there's a hint.
yeah,
Plus of course those very valuable itineraries from cruises, which is,
yes, yep.
can't go wrong with that. Jim the historian says, I don't collect postcards, but this after this chat I think my family will start. Exactly.
Start.
Oh, it's great fun. It's
Yeah,
just while you're there on a trip, in the old days, you'd go on a trip and you'd buy a few postcards and send it with the wish you were here, statement. But today, I find just a few postcards and keep them for special occasions. As
mhm,
many of you out there know, I do my best to send postcards. I think you've all seen my Projectkin postcards now. I have to get
yes.
creative.
I have many hanging on my
You have to
wall.
I know. Hey, I'm running out of things to do. But actually, while you're mentioning that, stamps. A few years ago, we lost a law school classmate of my husband's, who collapsed, alone, and, it was very sad when, at funeral services. And one thing her family members kept bringing up, we were feeling badly for having not stayed in touch enough. It's just so young. And her family kept repeating over and over again how thoughtful she was in writing notes and writing letters and making a point of always writing actual hand, actual letter. We should do that as a memory to her and testament. So I
Mhm,
stocked up with stamps, and I have tried to make a point of that. Many of you wonder why it is I keep sending you these postcards, stickers occasionally. I do, and it's not about the sticker, it's not about the postcard or the stamp, although I do try to mix it up a little bit. And I think it is the handwriting. I think it is the "I
mhm,
was here." It was
yeah,
from my hand to your hand. And even if we take that and digitize it, we can tell the story because,
mhm,
I don't know, there's something special that happens when you digitize,
yeah,
when you intentionally take a picture of a thing,
mhm.
because you have a
Well
chance to
well, and it also tells people, like, the letters that when I get your postcards, I'm, like, excited because it's something in the mail besides junk and bills, because that's generally all we get by mail. I don't even hardly get any bills anymore. Everything's online, so usually what's in the mail now is literally just junk, and there's nothing sort of exciting in the mail anymore, and so you get a postcard, um, from somebody and it's like, "Oh, cool." And, Jennifer Jones sent me one too that I don't know what I did with it, but it's not on my wall. It must have fallen down. And I've got it digitized already, and it was just like it was so exciting because it's just like
exactly.
somebody thought about me and took the time not to just send a little email or a message or a text, but actually took put a little effort to write something in their handwriting. And again, and 2 points you made there, Barbara, handwriting, so important. And we've talked before about some point down the road, we're going to talk about handwriting and recognizing handwriting and all that. That's and identifying it and things. But having something that someone wrote by hand, particularly who is gone, is so valuable. Like when you see their writing, it's meaningful, and the stamps. A really good source, stamps and particularly cancellations too. Really good source of information when we're trying to date stuff. So that's
Exactly. Exactly. And, you mentioned thank you for your kind words, Marcy, about the stickers that I send. I started doing stickers a while back out of gratitude to my Projectkin patrons. Yes, yes, those. That's a rare edition of the Hooked on Stories. I'm a Projectkin patron. There you go. And then I realized that, you know what, it was fun to do that. And so many of you as patrons have been so lovely and contributing so much. I got to think of something else. So I've made a bunch of other stickers for special events and series and things that we do. So collect the whole set. No, don't chew on that. Excuse me, that wasn't for you. And then I have another one. So right here, right now, all of you within the range of my voice, a little Projectkin sticker. Let me know if you'd interested. Just drop me a message, and I do need your address, and I will do two things. One, I will put you on the Projectkin members map, where I am very careful to strip out the actual address, but only the city and postal code that appears there. And I will send you a little something anywhere in the world, because I now know a lot about global mailing and exactly how many stamps traverse international borders and count as paper goods. They do not get taxed or duties, and we're not going to talk about that, but it's a good thing to avoid, right? So, there's a lot of stuff happening right now,
mhm.
coming up for Roots Tech. I mentioned Jennifer's Roots Tech live stream with Aaron and Crystal coming up on Monday. You've seen the series of mini Merts that Dear Myrtle has been doing. And Kyla inserted right here the whole point about collecting stamps. I honestly don't, but my grandfather did, and my husband's dad did, and so I have little starters of stamp collections around, which is interesting. In fact, since I'm on a rabbit hole here, my insert rabbit hole. Time for your drink. Time for your drink, Kathy. Bring up your
Oh,
mug.
okay. Rabbit hole drink.
No, the other one. The mug.
Oh, the rabbit hole. Yeah.
Thank you.
There we go. The rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. Rabbit hole alert. Uh, when my mom passed, I had this guy sends me a letter basically saying, "Do you have any stamps for me? I will buy them." Because he saw in the records so and so passed and the probate is scheduled for, and he just has an automated mailing system saying, "Talk to me about your stamps," which I thought was really clever. Also, his letter came with all kinds of lovely stamps on it. I was
Mhm.
impressed. I didn't send him anything. I was still impressed. Anyway, where was I before I went down that rabbit hole? Oh, yes, Roots Tech. So then my series, we've had the mini Merts last week and a wonderful series of the Kyla and Bill show,
Mhm.
which there will be more episodes to coming next week, starting this week on Thursday morning before your program in the afternoon. I have the Roots Tech ride along with Jennifer, and I'm doing a one a day of the ride along talks, one with Jennifer, then Friday is with you, Kyla, and on Saturday is with Aaron Youngless, which should be a
Ooh.
lot of fun. And then next week, well, you can read the whole set on the Roots Tech on the ridealongpartners.org page. And it's just been fun. In fact, you too writing your posts about Roots Tech, I'd be delighted to help celebrate them and get the word out. And every one of these recordings, including all of yours, are going up on the recordings, ridealongpartners.org/recordings, because I'm just clever that way. So then I'm also excited about Tuesday. So some of you may remember last year No, it was the year before that, I think, 2024 October. Maybe it was last year. I don't know. All blends together. Rhonda Lauritsen, who was a wonderful, wonderful supporter to Ponga back in the day, agreed to do a program for Projectkin in October about kind of the spooky things you discover in your family history, which was great fun. Oh, that was after the All About That Place series. So that was
Mm.
2024, I think, the first time. And she reached out to me a few weeks ago and said, "Hey, I'm doing a talk at Roots Tech that will be in one of these large keynotes, and it's not being recorded, and it's a new variation on that talk about the hard stuff. And frankly, I'd like to do a dry run. And my own audience knows me too well. It's time to do to a new audience. Are you open for that?" Yay! I said, "Of
Yes.
course." So she is our speaker on Tuesday talking about the hard stuff. I have heard her earlier talk and I highly recommend it. It's
Mhm.
extremely, it's frankly very influential. It just hits you with that insight into where you're going. And in many ways, and I talk about this in the context of privacy. And many of the most important stories that need to be told don't need a public audience. And
Mhm.
yet, remember, all of these platforms out there are trying to encourage us to share your stories, tell your inner truth right here, right now, where everybody wants to click that button. Come on, man. That's in their best interest, not in my best interest. And
Well,
so, yeah, go ahead.
and I'm really excited about that with Rhonda because Barbara knows, and I'm hoping to publish the note this afternoon. I was reading everyone's posts about what sessions they're attending online, and when I was registering, I kept coming across the not available, not available, not available online, not available online. So I'm going to publish a list later today of all the sessions I would have loved to go to if I happened to be in Salt Lake City, and obviously I couldn't have gone to all of them. And one of those sessions happens to be Rhonda's. So I am really excited because I can check that one off my list now. I'm actually going
Yeah.
to get to find out about that one. So,
Because, of course, Projectkin will be recording it and I will be distributing it. In fact,
yeah.
I do apologize to my audience to get a few too many in a single day. On Thursday, I will be publishing that twice, but I do try to not overdo it. And that's why I'm only doing one event per day. But you will get a lot of mail this week.
Mm.
Sorry about that.
An
Filtering is a
exciting
good
week, though.
filtering is a good thing. And I love the idea of sharing what you plan to see. You know, we talked a little bit about doing event parties, watching parties. There is actually software out there to do that, which seems a little complicated to me, and they're paid services and stuff. But you know, just chatting with somebody, hey, who out there is watching blah blah blah? Why not? Or as you're doing, which I think is an even better idea, is to say, "Hello, world. This is what I'm going to be watching. What are you going to be watching?" And then when there's a confluence, let's do it together. Which, you know, as we get to know each other and get to know who our cousins and whatnot, it makes a lot of sense. I made a huge discovery to me. I couldn't understand. I mean, I understand Kyla is famously has more cousins than anybody on relatives at Roots Tech that I've ever known, though I still need to see some of yours chiming in out here because she's been a member of the LDS church for many, many years and has generations of that. So she has deep history with extended family. But then I noticed that I had so many cousins on a few lines, both of which happened to be some of my Quaker lines that moved west. Well, wouldn't you know it? It was a cousin in those families that then went on to be very early in the LDS church. And so their descendants, of course, are all attending Roots Tech. So now, surprise, I have a lot of descendants who are connected in that way. And I think, you know, it's no question that the Roots Tech attendees list is a little distorted toward, at least as I see it, toward Americans. What do you think relative to Canadians? Do you think Canadians like Americans? There's a lot of attending Roots Tech, or does it seem like Americans have more,
Um, Probably more in the
just
U.S.
population wise?
population, not only population wise, but travel wise right now and everything. So,
Wow, Bill. Bill.
Bill. Okay, Bill,
Bill.
that's a record.
6124. Man, oh man, that's a big number.
I can't believe I'm not related to anyone because I have family
Look
from the
again.
States.
Look again.
Yes.
That's what it keeps coming down to. Look again.
Okay, let's put
It,
in the name that would be related to in America.
so we're going to stay at this, and I just hope. There we go. Oh, there's your Catherine Pratt, and we will drop that in here and drop it into the notes, and share notes about what your playlist is, what you care about. And I love the idea, Kathy, of dropping notes separately. These are the online or live and not recorded events. So any of you who are planning to be out there during these events,
Mhm.
I'm here for you. I'd love to know what you discover. That
Yeah.
kind of thing would be fantastic. Because at the end of the day, all we're really trying to do here is to do this show together, share
Mhm.
notes. Marcy, you've asked a great question that maybe other people have wondered about. What is this Roots Tech relatives at Roots Tech thing you all keep talking about? I'll tell you the secret way to get there. First of all, make sure you go to rootstech.org and register. If you're not on site now, you're online, register for the online, and then go to I'm going to type it in. I'm not logged in just yet this morning. Go to familysearch.org slash, if we're all speaking English, ing, and then connect, CONNECT. Once you do that, you will go to a default page that will encourage you to sign in. Once you sign in, their magic system goes through their database and compares it to other people who are also registered, and then shows you only the top 300, as Kyla pointed out, which I didn't really realize before, and how the closest 300 will appear to you there. And you can message them, you can chat them up, and get the best thing to do, as Kyla and Bill have done some great talks about cousin connecting and strategies for doing that. And with her overachiever status, Kyla is the one to listen to find out the
Mhm.
best ways to really use that knowledge to help you and each other and your newfound cousin in your research. So those are really great strategies, and I expect we'll keep. See, she even kept count of her last year numbers, 30,000, and what she's not saying is, "Go ahead, beat that." Oh, you're on, Kyla. You're on. We're gonna if so maybe we should bring this to a close because we've sort of kicked over our 30-minute number. I do try to keep these tight. And we've all got a busy week ahead, busy 2 weeks ahead. Again, the relatives, the Roots Tech Ride Along Partners, ridealongpartners.org. We have all the stuff going on online on the web page. Plus, there's a new page I just added up there yesterday for on site. I basically combined the swag pages. So there's a new site for on site, a new page for on site, and that shows you all the things that we're actually doing on site. We have a booth. Man, it's so exciting for little Projectkin. We have a booth together with our buddies at Genea Bloggers, and the booth has a nifty feature that has a slightly off the show floor, but in the aisle, basically, a recording studio. And you can go in. Do you hear my voice here, Kyla? You can step out of the noise of the show floor, go into this little plexiglass cone of silence, and do a little live stream. Tell us what you just saw. Tell us who you just met. Mert's going to add a tripod there so you can just talk to yourself without jiggling the camera, if you've got like a phone, and have a good time. There's a sign up for that, and I don't know, other stuff. We're working on it. We're just trying to shake the tree and see what we can do and find out what we come up with. And a lot of these ideas are yours, so keep them coming. Thank you all and we will see you,
Mm.
I'm sure, later in the week. Cat's asleep. Bye now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.